you guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this video is going to be me talking about the technological context of the video gaming industry and how that specifically relates to Minecraft. So traditionally, video games have always been sold in video gaming shops and people would buy them. So because of the increase of online distributing and video games being actually free, especially on phones, the market has shifted very drastically over the years, where now a quarter of the video games market consists of physical games and 3/4 for it being digital. So you can obviously see there's a massive shift. I mean, before it used to be all games were physical and all of them would be bought in these specific shops. So now these shops still exist, obviously, but the retail sales have declined significantly, and therefore it's just cheaper to buy games if you go to like actual video gaming stores and shops. But now, because of things like digital gaming, you can buy the same games on like Steam, on the Apple Store, and because of that, mobile gaming is actually increased significantly as well, and now is actually the fastest growing sector of the video gaming industry, which I find quite funny because people always say that that people who play mobile games aren't actual gamers, but if anything, that's actually contributing significantly more to the video gaming industry overall in comparison. Now, the development of game design technology has actually allowed independent small companies to have the opportunity to produce low-budget video games, and that has actually increased the diversity of video games, because these like big conglomerates that I talked about in my previous economics video will never take creative risks, because the consequence of them going wrong is far too high, and if they do something very bold and different and their audience doesn't like it, then they'll get significantly more hate in comparison to a very small indie company doing the exact same thing, because obviously their audience is significantly smaller and therefore the impact is lessened. But just as a result of more indie companies coming about in the video gaming industry, they have the ability to do creative things with their games, and that kind of bridges the gap between the video gaming genres and conventions, because they just can do whatever they want. But also because indie companies usually rely on audience feedback, the audience interactivity has actually significantly increased, and you can use Minecraft as an example of this. So Notch in 2009 actually did use, I think, TIG source forums in order to actually talk about his game and then make people see his prototype, give their own criticisms, their own opinions on the game, and then he would implement further onto his prototype. So that just increases audience interactivity and makes the audience less passive. So overall, that is quite a good thing. But the technological changes in video games has changed significantly also. So by that I mean, like, there's loads more improved features in video games than before, things like faster CPUs, better 3D graphics and sound cards, but also just in general, the internet has allowed people to do so many different things with video games, some of which also include being able to download games, so again, things like from the Apple Store, Steam and stuff like that. But also it allows people to play across the world with multiple people, so multiplayer global games, and that's actually really prominent now because esports is rising and people have tournaments, and obviously loads of people go across from different countries and stuff and play, but sometimes they also do come together in different conventions, different tournaments and competitions. So just the general industry is definitely increasing because people can access video games using the internet more. Also, the internet has allowed people to, again, use fan forums and just have that sense of community because of social media and the fact that they can discuss their opinions and share it to people on a wider scale. So also, in terms of how Minecraft actually uses these digital convergent technologies, they actually have the ability to do cross-platform gaming, and that's when one person is using a different device from from the other person, sorry, and they are playing the same game at the same time. So that again is really useful, because then it can reach out to a wider audience, because not every single person wants to buy a different console to play one particular game. People like having the same console that they have and then using that for all of their video gaming consumptions. Now, in terms of, again, because of the internet, modifications of games has significantly increased, audience interactivity has again increased, but also another really important factor of the fact that the internet has allowed people to actually download games through cloud services rather than relying on physically going out and buying shops. So again, that is reflected by the statistic that I gave earlier in the video about a quarter of the video games being actually physical games that people buy. And this just also saves a significant amount of distribution costs for that particular company, because they don't actually need to go out and buy packaging and make sure that everything is like sorted out and then put that into shops. Instead, they can just upload them onto these websites and things like that for people to access them instead. So just as a general note, as technology increases, the cost for different consoles and like computers and things like that will inevitably decrease. So we can see that from the past. So obviously computers before were significantly more expensive than they were now. Obviously it's still quite expensive, but it's definitely reduced a lot. So also Minecraft can actually be streamed as well, so you can have like Minecraft YouTubers and things like that, where people actually have that fan base. It's so much more prevalent nowadays. Also, Minecraft can actually be streamed instead of you physically going there, so you can actually like kind of be up to date with everything happening in the comfort of your own homes, rather than actually physically going out. Also, another thing is that Minecraft Realms is happening, and that's just a lot more prominent as well. So exclusive online services just make being a fan so much more enjoyable. The fact that you can feel like an exclusive member because you have the internet and you have these better services that can provide for their fans. It's just, in general, it's just a better fan service. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope that it was useful, and I will see you for the next video. Goodbye.